Welcome, Sexy Wookiees, to another episode of the Sexy Wookie Squadcast. We have concluded reading Star Wars Republic Commando Hard Contact by Karen Travis. Index. It's your boy, Sexy Leader.
Hey, it's your girl, Sexy One.
Hey, it's your simp, Sexy 2.
Let's go.
Oh gosh, this book. I have a little tangent to go on. So,
Oh, please do share.
one of my coworkers, so he really likes Star Wars, and he does he writes his own story or something. If you're watching this, I'm so sorry I butchered. But anyway, he was like, "Can I get your opinion on some Jedi stuff for this?" And I was like, at first I was like, "Oh, you should read Master and Apprentice." And then he was talking more and more, and I was like, "Oh, you're describing it, Tane." I was like, "You have to read Hard Contact. We just finished it in my book club."
Oh,
yes. And he's like, "Well, what about the other one?" I was like, "No, read this one first and then read the other." Is it a series? Yes, and you're gonna want to read them all.
It's so easy. It's short. It's an easy read.
So hopefully I convinced him to read it, because I'm just like,
another convert.
Please read it. Yeah.
Yes. And in my search for backgrounds, I stumbled across this DeviantArt artist who does all the Republic Commando illustrate so this is her stuff, and I'm sorry I didn't ask permission, but I am going to credit you and tell you on your website that I used it. I'm sorry, we don't make money off of this, so it's not like I could send you anything.
I see her little watermark.
Yes, so watermark hopefully stays visible, and I will credit, but I was like, this is everything. I need this in my background this week.
Wait, back real quick, I want to see it.
Okay, but don't go look her up right now, because she does all her art is just from all over the place, so there are major spoilers from later books, so tread carefully if you haven't read this series, but otherwise look her up. My heart. Yes, so this is from one of the chapters that we read this week, the end of the book. We got to see the culmination of this mission go down, and the end of our villain, and the making of a Jedi Padawan, and hard decisions, and Omega Squadron's first mission. So here we are.
It was wild, and before we started recording, I told Megan, this of all the times to watch me read for my reactions, this was probably it.
You should have just recorded it. Not that you would have known, but I should. Dang, why didn't I think of it?
Next time for the next one.
Brilliant. Yeah, I would definitely. There were parts I had to yell out loud, "Fight, you weirdo!" I love you.
My sticky notes kept coming and coming.
So good. Oh, there were some good quotes in this last one. I almost busted out some sticky notes too, but
oh gosh, it was really good, and I simp so hard, and I love all four of them so much, and yeah.
Yay. Well, I hope we get to do the rest of this series at some point in the future. Otherwise I'll go crazy and just reread it all myself. I'll do what I must.
You guys ready?
Yeah, let's get into these questions.
Okay, so there's a quote. I'm gonna read it to you, and I can reread it as many times as you need. I'm curious on your thoughts and feelings on it, because when I read it, it hit me so hard, and I reread the quote 5 times before I could even move on.
Love it. All right.
It was worse than falling in love. It was a totally different level of attachment. It was shared trauma.
Thoughts on that? Yeah. There are connections that are completely different and yet just as strong as love, I would say. And it is an interesting theme that was almost explored in the X-Wing novels, in that you go through this life or death experience with somebody, and you come out of it wholly attached to them, and it almost feels like love or lust or something, because of this shared experience, this high adrenaline situation. And Etain had that with these guys, but not only that, it was an absolute life-changing watershed experience for her that she, like she said, was the making of her. Like, this taught her more than she ever learned from her Jedi training about herself and about the Force and how to deal with life and other people. So it wasn't even just trauma. This whole experience was so much to her. And I would say to the guys as well. This was like their first real solo mission together, and even as individuals, because the last time they'd all fought was at Geonosis with the entire army, and now they're acting as commandos. They're actually on a mission and doing things that they specialize in. So this was their test, you know, how they work with each other, how they can fulfill their particular training and prove themselves to the first commander they've ever met and to the Republic, to the cause that they were made for. Did they do good enough? Like, are they going to be able to fulfill their purpose? So such an important moment in all of their lives to come together, to experience it together, to learn from each other so much that it changes your outlook and your arc as a character is huge. So you cannot come out of this and not have a connection to each other. So it's so much more important and so much deeper than a couple characters who end up being attracted to each other or something like that. You know, love or a crush or attraction or even attachment is too weak of a word, even though that's what they continually use, and especially in the context of being a Jedi and not supposed to have attachments. Like, sorry, like she's attached. Like, how could you not be? So it's huge. It's a huge deal. And it is a completely different thing than love and possibly stronger. And that is my rant on that quote. Go
That's
ahead,
good. That's
Ronald.
good. That's good. I'm gonna go a little bit different, I think, but somewhere in the same level. So let me start with attachments. Yes, I think they were just trying to connect attachments with, you know, the movie and what we know about Jedi's. If you only know what you know in the movies, right? So the book kept that theme going.
Yeah.
But like I said, man, this relationship of these two, like, where, like, it's something else, because I was still trying to relate what the relationship between Atine and Etain were, where it was so different. But when I saw that quote, I said, yeah, was there some type of love interest? Like, at first I thought when I read, it was more of like, oh, maybe there's some type of love interest, and then you get the type of like sisterly, brotherly type of love, and then they hit you with the quote kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
when the quote hit me, I said, how do I want to go about this, or like reading this? And I said, um, I'm gonna go with a different way of realizing it for myself. Not what, like, I didn't want to think what the author, the reason why they wrote it, why other readers think about it. I
Yeah.
was
How
like,
did
I was just
you
gonna, yeah, I
interpret
was
it?
just gonna play to myself. And I said, here we go. Like, let's now take realistic themes and relate it in Star Wars world. So my
Hmm.
take on this was Etain and Dar were very, um, I think that's what best friends are to me, in my my experience, or in my type of uh this type of relationship is, this is like two of the bestest friends that you could ever have. And then because I relate that to, because I've never had brothers sisters,
Mm.
and you know it's, when you relate to that, when you relate to best friends and brotherly sisterly love,
Like
I
a
think,
family.
yeah, I think it's like that everything gets lost in the mix there. So like we all just said, or like what I just said, not, I'm not speaking for you both, like what I just said, like all that love theme, the attachments, like that all comes with that best friend's friendship. Now, the way I read it and the way I know it in real life doesn't play that way. The way the book, says it. So I'll just give the book away because I don't want to take too much time. Um, I think it's a point at this point where you can only take your friendship so far, and you're always going to be friends. Like there's nothing's ever going to break the friendship, right? Like even if there's discommunication, like they were talking about towards the end of the book, like you're always going to have that friendship, and that's never going to change.
Yeah.
But what's going to change is how far you were going to meet that person for that time, right? And I think that's why for anybody and everybody, you got to take every day with the people you love, and tell them you love them, because it might be that day, and you may not have. And like I said, it's different factors can happen, but I believe that that's what it was. When I read it, I was like,
Mm.
it's they can all that's how far Dar could have taken Etane's, and then related to the Jedi training kind of thing.
Right.
And then him kind of like, I think I'm gonna go with the theme now, that the 10-year-old himself is now, you can step out of that 10-year-old self, right? So they both taken each other as far as they could, and this is where the road just takes them. It just separates them. And
Yeah, they've got
sometimes
responsibilities.
the road doesn't stay in place. It will separate. Very nice. It was very nice. It's very beautifully written, I think.
Yeah, like how he kind of became that child again at the thought of having to say goodbye to somebody, probably something he's never had to do within his little family unit of a team. Like besides them dying, which was already hard enough for him, and now he's got this new one. Like you go everywhere with your brothers, and now he's kind of adopted this new sister into the team. But no, like she's not part of the unit anymore, and she's got to go her way and he has to go his. And like I don't know, like when he became the 10-year-old child again, like to her senses, I was like, oh
yeah. I'm glad you asked that, Jasmine, because I
dying.
was like, yo, that's definitely, she's gonna have that as a question. So right before all of this, that's why I came in late. I was listening to End of the Road with Boys to Men.
Oh my gosh.
It was perfect.
I wish this was live action so I could just play it slow motion to that song as a music video. Dang.
Oh,
That's
man.
perfect.
Jasmine, what's up?
I'm gonna have to go listen to that now.
That quote, like I said, I had to reread it multiple times before I could continue on, because it really struck something with me, because I have people in my life, like I have friends that we may not have gone through trauma together, but we've been through similar trauma, and that's what bonds us in our friendship. It sucks that we both went through it, but we can understand each other in ways that other people who haven't gone through it don't. And so it was just really interesting. It was worse than falling in love. It was a totally different level of attachment. It was shared trauma. And so I feel an attachment with them that's different than attachment from friends that haven't gone through it. I mean, I care about all my friends, and I do get attached to my friends, but the type of attachments, like this made me realize, like, oh, I have different kinds of attachments with different people. And so it was just really interesting for it to be put into words, because this is something that I felt, but I never quite knew how to put it into words until I read it. And I was like, oh,
that sums it up.
that sums it up. That's perfect. And so it's just really interesting in the different ways that you could relate it. You could relate it to people who've been in war together, people who, have been in some kind of disaster together, or like in my case, separate instances that happen to be the same or similar enough that we form some kind of bond from it.
There's a depth of understanding that you get from people like that you can't achieve with other people, and not for any fault of their own. It's just, it is what it is. It's a level of attachment.
Yeah. And I have one friend who is very close to me, and we've gone through a lot of the same stuff. And it's not like we just were like, hey, my name is this, by the way, here's all this. that
It's my
that
baggage.
I've been through. This is my baggage. I'm gonna check it in right now. No, it's stuff that we just kind of learned over time, and then we're like, oh my gosh, we've gone through so much of the same stuff. But it's not that it shapes our friendship, but it helps us to understand each other and what we're going through. And it just, I don't know if I could say it's a nice feeling, because it sucks that we went through what we went through, but it's comforting that someone can understand at that level. And so with Etain, Darman, Phi, Atine, and Niner, the fact that they can understand each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's terrible that they went through, you know, that crazy mission, but they have some kind of level of comfort and understanding that they can rely on each other for that. And I really, really like that.
That was beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Just a really poignant, like Ronald said, well-written moment. And yeah, exactly. The way she put it exactly into words, why it is what it is, why, I don't know. Yeah, this type of relationship that was formed on this mission. It's the opposite of shallow. It is so meaningful and deep. I loved it.
Took me 15 chapters to understand, but that's when I was like, honestly, I was like I told you guys, I'm waiting for something to wake me up, and I was like, why wait till the end? I know save the best for last kind of thing, but
slow burn. It was
like, yeah, there you go. I
think I do have that advantage, though. I know the badass that Etain becomes. And so to suddenly jump back and be like, oh my gosh, she was so unsure of herself and like was so weak and just, you know, not a good Jedi. And so it is interesting to watch that journey. But I can see how, from your point of view, it's like, what is going on? Like, get it together.
A certain point of view, but definitely, Karen Travis, you mark probably top 3 in one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Star Wars author right now.
Wow.
That's so. If that was going to be one of your questions, I know it was a question you kept recurring if we were going to like this book or not. Literally, this is probably my favorite out of all of them. Like,
wow,
you didn't have your big powerhouse Jedis that we always see, and it was a new villain that was trying to find some type of closure.
Yeah, kind of understated.
Everything. It was like, and like I said, the end. It was the end that really just opened up for me. And yeah, like you said, Megan, like I can't wait to read the 2, 3, and 4, because that's, I think, and I'm just gonna go back to the question so I don't go off. What something what Jasmine said. It's like you've gone through it with your friends, and then but I think that's what the book left it at. It's like now that we're not gonna see each other, right? And we've gone through it. This is a time, I think, for them for growth, like these characters, and also moving past all their all the things they were trying to get through in the very first chapters of this whole book, pretty much. And yes, now we may just see like, oh, now they're big players in the future coming books, but who knows? Maybe not all of them have also overcome. I don't want to say weaknesses, because they're not weaknesses. Help me out with a better word. Obstacles. I'll just say obstacles.
Yeah, sure.
So they have obstacles in their life. I think it's just now you have to take. It's kind of like what they said with General Zay, Master Zay, to attain. Like now this could be your trials, right? But the trial that you was I need to stay here and foresee what my master Fullier and me were here set out to do for. And I think that's the biggest test for the I want to say clone troopers, for the commandos though.
Yeah,
they're
level up.
Like right now we see maybe like the good things and that they can work as a team, right? Probably the next obstacle I think would be is how do you first keep that and then keep growing as a team, right? Because there could be obstacles, who knows what in war, or who knows what type of villain can string your team a different way, or any event, whatever it may be. How are you gonna overcome the obstacles? So I think it's about overcoming obstacles. I love that theme. That's how I read it. I was like, this is about obstacles. And because like it was until I saw the first principle by Skirata, I was just like, man, that's like where you have to stay as a, I don't know, stay with your comrades, I think it was. It's not that exactly, because I don't take notes, but it's I was like, oh, okay.
I'm sure there's a
As we
sticky
read
tab
along,
for it.
as we read along, I want to see what Skirata's principles were, because we only got the first one. There's got to be more.
Oh yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. This is the first obstacle that they have to overcome. This is the very early days of the war. They're kind of still figuring things out, and working as a team for the first time. So just imagine, I'm telling you, this was the introductory book. This was, here's these characters, here's kind of their attitude towards each other and to this new conflict that is starting. The next few books are like hardcore, we are at war, baby. Like, it is big battles and death and gore and Jedi and clones and droids. Like, we're into the war. And then we get all the way to Order 66, and then Darth Vader and the 501st. Like, it gets bigger in scale and scope and heavier. And so once you get past this kind of introductory book, which is all about like, how do these people view each other and their attitude towards this new thing that is starting to happen, boom, now we're into it. Like, it gets crazy. So
I'm definitely be like pinpointing everything Skirata has to do, because I think that's what it was.
Great.
I think that was the book. It was like, I think what threw me off is the military terminology.
Yeah.
But for me, it was really, I was like, that's where it is, right? It's the things that Skirata was teaching the three is what you have to be. I think that's what you're supposed to be pinpointing in this book, was those lessons.
The things they've learned from him. Yeah.
Right. And then what they learned like during war, and how they take those lessons.
He does become a character in the later books. Like, he actually gets involved, and he's so amazing. I love Skirata. I wanted to ask you though, Ronald, you had said at one point in an episode that this was a new and different way of writing Jedi that you had experienced, and you were either going to not like it, or this was going to be your new standard for this is how you write Jedi. What do you think now that you've finished it?
Well, none of the themes change for me. I think they still stick with a lot of what we know. But it was just a different way of reading Etaine's journey. So I think it was more of like, now towards the end was just really that was the lesson I learned.
Yeah.
Because I just thought, okay, it's a Jedi who's clumsy, who didn't know what she was, like unsure of herself, and like I was like, well, where are they going with this? No, it was really a lesson of like that Jedi are human as well. And I think it said it in the book at the very end that like all of these are human, and then everybody has human emotions, and everybody goes through things the same outcome, but they don't go through the obstacles the same way. So I think you can't. Oh no, you can. To answer your question really quick before I go on one of my. No, this is how you definitely write Jedi's trials, right? Because we always know like, oh, they somehow magically get their powers and they're either good with it, but we never see how they can grow into it.
Yeah.
Right. And then for Etain, the shoe fit. And like I said, it's open-ended with their story. Like, if they don't go back to Etain and it's like, one of those things where like, oh, I wish I wrote Etain a letter or something, or saw her in a hologram or whatever.
So hard not to talk.
So it's like, man, I think, yeah, I think she wrote it beautifully, and I'll stick by what I said before. She wrote, this is so, I like what you guys said before, and now it really came to me. It's like when you take realistic terms, right? And I guess this is why you guys related it to it so much realistically, and I did,
Realistic.
because she can write realistic as Star Wars.
Yeah, see, she's taking something mystical, magical, and from a fantasy universe like the Force. But then when Karen writes it, when she describes Etain moving the soil to open up that channel, she's talking about, oh, she pictured the spaces between the molecules and shaped them. And it's so scientific and realistic and understandable. And I'm like, dude, like this helps me understand the Force. It's not some magical blue glowy, with
Yes,
a representation that looks like a wolf or some stupid thing. Like, she's writing it like some people can tap into the universe at a molecular level and manipulate it. And I don't know, it just seems so believable the way she wrote that. And then even the Jedi principles and how Etain had just kind of, it was part of her upbringing and she knew them or whatever, but she didn't fully understand them or embrace them for herself until she was faced with the choice and went through this experience. And then she really believed it and really embraced it. And so that the way of writing that as a Jedi, that's not just kind of indoctrinated, but that actually comes into her own because of this experience, and then is able to fully be the best version of herself, the best Jedi. Like that's why I love Karen's version of Jedi as opposed to kind of the more mystical, which isn't bad. Sometimes I enjoy that too, but I'd never read anything like this, and I was like, oh geez, this is cool.
Right. And that's why, I mean, that's why in the end, you guys were very like, no, I don't want Darman to leave, obviously. Or I'm not just going to say both of you. I didn't want Darman to leave either.
Yeah.
And I wanted Etain to just go with them because you want to see where else adventures this team could go, because this is what it was for me. Like, you're breaking up the Ninja Turtles with April O'Neil, basically. And that's where it ends.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. She's April.
And April O'Neil is literally the one who takes care of the turtles in the river.
That's right. Oh my gosh, this is literally the Ninja Turtles.
So yeah, that's what it was for me. So then I was like, oh, you want to relate that to that? Okay, I got it. Like I saw.
I mean, exactly Scarada is Master Splinter.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but that's amazing. A different fandom.
Different. I have a feeling Jasmine's gonna ask about this ending choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course,
well, we'll get there. So I won't get into it yet, even though Ronald brought it up. We'll wait till we get there officially.
Let's do a 2-hour Squadcast.
I know this is really going to be you know how I feel about this book, and we have now finished it, and
take
I have
it
thoughts.
for what it is. Yeah.
Okay. What's the next real question? Sorry.
I had another one, but I already know your guys' answer to that, so we're just.
How do you know? It could be different. It could be. You just ask it. Just ask it.
No.
For the comments below. Answer.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, would you disobey orders to save your squad? And I'm just like,
oh, come on, yeah.
Of course, you guys. I feel
yeah.
like Ronald might have given a different answer, but I think at this point, yeah.
No, let me think about that one. Go ahead and give your answers.
Oh shoot. Okay.
I mean, I think it's kind of clear what me and Megan would do.
So like in the
Etain?
Yeah, well,
no, as you.
Oh, as me.
You. Yeah. So these questions are your perspective.
In a situation where your superior is like, all right, time to go. Let's fly out of here. And you're like, no, my people is still out there.
Let's
like,
go.
No.
You're
gonna disobey your master. And I like while you're thinking about it,
I
think it's interesting that she refers to him as General Zay instead of Master Zay. I was like, oh, she's like so like subconsciously identified with the clones now. Like she has linked herself with them as opposed to with the Jedi. like that's so telling that she refers to him as General Zayla. I was like, woo, girl.
Mhm.
So that was interesting. But yeah, I would for sure. Oh my gosh, like my people over rules. Yeah, any day.
Mhm.
Ronald.
So I'm a
Please
very
try to
stubborn
read.
person,
Yeah.
and because I'm very by the book, I won't say yes right away. Now, why is that? Maybe it's because
Sexy leader, no.
You're gonna leave us behind? Damn.
I'm gonna put
no,
this in a story. Oh shoot.
you have to. I think there was a right and a wrong there. I think when she was like, because she thought of it too. It's thought of it too, right? So
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, she's not gonna go. Like, there was a moment where I was like, she's not gonna go, and Darmin's just gonna have to take himself and just go with it. But I think she went because of the trial. Um, and that's where I mean, I probably would be like Etain too. Do I go or not go at first? I'm not gonna quickly say yes.
Mhm.
Um, but it's not to diss any part of the, this group that I'm making friends that I just made friends with. That
No,
I have
Ronald,
a
I
deep.
think we're talking about different parts. Not the decision to go with them at the
Oh, okay.
end. The decision when they were like, we got to take off, and she's like, two of my guys aren't
to,
here.
to go to
Yeah.
Hotan. Yeah,
And
no.
then she held
Yeah,
the ship
no, I'm there.
hostage to
I'm there.
go
there.
save them. I think that's the
No,
question.
Yeah. No, that's the question.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, I
I'm
should have
there.
worded that better.
I'm there. No, she did she did hesitate to think though, right? Like, am I gonna go out of what was it called? Disobedience?
Yeah, he threatened her Jedi trials,
Yeah,
basically. He was like, you're not going to
that's
be a
right.
knight if you friggin' get out.
And
Like, don't
that's
come.
that's me. So that's where I'm telling you, like, I have to think about that first because I'm not quick. I'm just being honest. Like, um, I don't think I'm that person who just like quickly, oh, my friends are in trouble, I gotta go, right? It's like I gotta think of it first, and then like assess, like, because what are the consequences if I do go, right? If I just quickly say yes and then I'm going, right? There's consequences there, right? And then there's also consequences if I don't go. Yeah. So to close my question, or to close my answer, excuse me, to this question, yeah, it would take me time to realize what I'd have to see what the outcome of not going and going is.
But they didn't
But in
have
the
time. They
ultimate,
were like, we gotta go, we gotta
in
go.
the
Can't sit
ultimate,
down and make a
yeah,
list.
at the end of the day, Ronald always chooses to go. So, but
To,
he doesn't always choose
to go what? To go
Okay.
save us or
to
to
go
just
save.
leave?
Sexy
Yeah,
1 and Sexy 2 are still out there on a mission and they're pinned down. And you get back to the extraction point
oh,
and
no question. I'm
with
stealing the Falcon if
General
it's you two.
Leia,
If it's you
and
two, I'm stealing the
that's
Falcon.
what it is.
But the question was to the clones. Like, to my clones, I'm like,
I just said your
No, it's
squad.
not. Yeah.
I mean, it could be
we're your
us.
squad.
It could be the clones.
oh, well, okay. So if it's you guys, stealing the Falcon. If it's the clones,
Leia's like, get out of there. They're expendable.
take
And
my
then
time
you'd be
to,
like,
yeah.
nope. And you'd pull a Poe and you'd just turn
No,
her
I would
off
just
and
see
then
what
go
they,
save us.
if it were you guys, yeah, definitely steal the Falcon. If it's the clones,
Oh my god, I thought you were gonna
in
leave us
that
to die.
situation,
He steals the Falcon and leaves.
Bye.
Now's my chance.
what would Han Solo do?
Oh my gosh.
Han Solo would probably dip, feel bad, and then come back.
And then come back.
Whoa,
Exactly.
hold on. So I'm gonna hold up.
That's what Han Solo would do.
You tell
That's
him.
what he.
This
that's
is
what he
him
did in
dipping.
episode
Wait,
4.
other way. This is him
That's what he did.
dipping.
That's what he did in episode 4, right? We thought Han Solo was gonna go back to Tatooine,
Exactly.
pay off Jabba the Hutt, and then guess what? Hey kid, it's 1 in a million. Take
He
your
comes
shot.
back. That's it.
Be like, what's up, pose?
So-
I came back late with my Starbucks.
I mean,
Mhm.
maybe that's who I am. Like, maybe I am a person who's like, I make my decisions on guilt. If I know something's gonna guilt me, I'd probably go like Han. Damn.
Oof.
See, you guys bring out the best answer because I get to figure it out what it is. But yeah,
That's it. We'll work it out
that's
together.
exactly what it was. No,
Okay.
but if it was sexy Squadron, we taking the Falcon and we going no matter what. But
Okay.
yeah, that's that.
So, all right. If it was, I mean, of course, if it was you guys, I'd be like, bye, I'm gonna go save them.
Yeah.
If it was the clones and I was a Tane, I would just tell the general, I'd be like, you could shove the trouser right up your butt, and I'd
It was
run
the
and I'd
clones
go.
and you were you. Let's be real. Like, you don't even
I
have to be a
did.
Tane.
My boys, I'm like, no,
Like
no,
any
no.
clones.
I'd be like, bye, ho, I'm coming for my men.
That's right.
My boys need me.
Not leaving them.
Mm-mm. Even if it means like I might die, that's okay, because at least I tried going back for them.
Seriously, and that part, the stress of that part, like where like Darman couldn't raise them on the comms because their helmets were offline, and so he thought they were dead, but Etain could still sense them. I was just like, oh my god.
Right? I was like, oh.
The tension. She's like, no, they're still alive. I know it. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. Okay. Well, that was the easy question. What else you got?
All too
All right.
easy.
So this is you yourself, okay? Not Etain, but you yourself. Would you go with
Nice.
Omega Squad, or would you stay with Zay?
This was a question.
Well, it's like the most obvious question.
Obvious, and it is a pretty obvious one. So I actually, I spent some time thinking about it, and I was like, okay, I've been in this situation before. There was a time when I had made a really unexpected connection with a new person, and then had to choose between him and a kind of like a responsibility / duty loyalty to something that I really didn't want to do. And I was like, I gotta be responsible. I've gotta help out this other thing. Goodbye. And I've regretted it ever since. So I'm like, I know my instinct is to be responsible instead of selfish, to choose the thing that helps another person rather than be with the person I want to be with. So that's probably what I would do. But then looking back, I'm like, I kind of wish I'd done the opposite. So I don't know, if I was ever faced with it again, would I choose differently just to see what happens? I don't know. So yeah, me as me, I'd pull the Etain and be like, I got a duty to perform here, and this is my job, and sorry, like, I hope we meet again. And then spend the rest of my life regretting it. That's what I would do.
Damn, that hurt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sadly drink my soda because that hurt my soul. That criffing hurt my soul. Look, that was so sad. You got me cursing on here.
Oh my goodness, we have to bleep that out. A little R2 sound. God. No, yeah, I hate it, but I was like, oh, girl, I've been there. Like, I was reading this scene and I was like, I know that feel. I hate it. Yeah. I don't like that choice.
Okay, so the question was, and I'm gonna just go back to it again. It's either, are you gonna go with Etain or stay with Zay, right? What would you
are
do
you gonna go with
as
Omega
you?
Squad, or are you gonna stay with Zay?
That's too easy. Go with Omega Squad.
I would go with my squad because I just would feel such a responsibility to make sure that they're okay, because in my head I would just be like, they wouldn't have even stayed for them. How can I trust that they're going to be taken care of in the future? And I would just say, you know what? I will do my best to relay whatever information I can to you from a distance, but I need to protect my squad. I was left in charge of them, and I'm going to keep being in charge of them. You know, I would just feel putting the simping aside, I would just feel such a responsibility. Like, I mean, after they wanted to leave, and she was like, I know that the two are still alive. So I would just feel like I can't, like, you guys know me. I'm such a big fan of the clones, and like, that's why I love 5 so much, because he is like, none of us are expendable. None of us are just numbers, despite the fact that most of them are like, yeah, we are. And so that's why I would just be like, I have to prove that they're more than just their numbers.
Yeah, you want to go be an advocate more than you want to be some Jedi.
Yeah, so I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'll try to help you from a distance if I can, but I need to protect my guys. They're my squad. I need to protect them.
Very good. Noble of you. Aww.
All right, guys, gonna close this off. What are your overall thoughts, feelings?
Oh my gosh. Well, just refer to the past 3 episodes and this one of the Sexy Wookiee Squadron book club because I have so many thoughts. I love this series. This is definitely just kind of a taste, but it is the beautiful first meetings of these characters, the first impressions, the kind of the beginnings of this new world galaxy at war. And it only gets worse and more dramatic, and the battles more at stake. Like this really was light compared to what they face later. So it's a great introduction, and it is interesting that as Ronald discovered, it's not so action packed. This really is a character study. This really is about the arc of these characters and their journey and their obstacles, like Ronald said, that they are overcoming and kind of developing who they are, what they believe in, and what they're fighting for. So it is a little bit slower and a little bit more intellectual, and it's not just lightsabers and explosions, although there are some of that, and it is entertaining. Oh, I didn't even mention other thought. I love that Etain is the one that takes out Hokan, like almost as vengeance for her master. Like, I'm so glad. Like, it could have so easily been any of the other commandos, but it was her. And I was like, yeah. And then just like seeing the evolution of her dealing with death from the first person she killed to this last person and how it affects her differently.
Mhm.
And oh my gosh, that the mention of like when Niner was faking being injured and like how he was screaming, and that like Etain's thought on that like she knew he was faking it, but it was gonna haunt her forever. Like the way he was screaming, I was just like, oh, I can't. And then I've got like this dramatic music playing as I'm reading, and I was like, why did I do this to myself? But like these little things, these little moments, these reactions of the characters to this situation, like it hits you so hard emotionally, because I don't know, like the way the pacing and the way that Karen writes this is, it makes you care about them and it makes you root for them. And even at this slow pace, you're like, wow, look how far they've come in just this really short, almost boring book. Like, what did they really accomplish? They took down one facility and kidnapped one doctor that wasn't even that hard to get. Like, not that crazy. And yet, look what development they achieved because of it.
Mhm.
And that I like. And I don't always. Sometimes those kind of books, I'm like, oh, character study is so boring. Like, I really don't care. I want action. I want sci-fi. But I don't know why. This was such a good combination of it. And there were moments where, I'm sorry, Ronald, it gets a little military, but where like when a teen gets hit and
Mhm.
Darman does this whole maneuver of of how he has to lay on top of him, roll him, put his arms through the webbing, and then roll over and up to get him onto his back. I'm like, that's so specific
Mhm.
that she did her research, that
Yeah.
she's like, what do Navy SEALs do? Like, how does one soldier do a field first aid on another soldier with a gunshot wound? Like, everything was so precise, and the military abbreviations that they used sounded so natural coming from them, and yet the other characters would be like, what are you talking about? Like, it I don't know, it just felt really natural and realistic, and I liked that in a Star Wars book. And at times you kind of felt lost, but it was almost intentional, because it was like, well, everybody here except for these professionals feel lost, like this is out of their element. And so you kind of get to experience that with the characters. So it's just an interesting way of writing, and of an interesting experience of being a reader in this kind of a narrative. But yeah, I love these characters. I love this whole series, so I really hope we get to carry on with it. There are other people that we need to meet. You really have to meet Cal Scarata. Like, oh my gosh, he's the goat. But like, to see where these characters go after this, yeah. Oh yeah, we need a lot more time with some of these others. Oh, okay. I won't say anymore. It's good. It's a good series. This was a great introduction to it. I'm so glad we finally read it. I had been advocating for this book forever because I was like, it's really good Jedi stuff. Ronald loves Jedi, and it's really, really good clone stuff. And we all know Jasmine is like the queen of the clone sims. So like I was like, this is the book, people. Like, Sexy Wookiee Squadron needs to read this book. And here we are. We did it. We finished this book, and I'm so happy with it. So I hope you guys all enjoyed it as much as I have. I'm very enthusiastic about it. I'm sorry. I won't apologize. I love this book.
Hey, you enjoy what you enjoy.
Feel like what you, yeah, exactly.
Ronald, final thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts. I won't take too much time because I think I said a lot in this episode already, and I don't want to get stuck again on my internet feed. But let me just start with Attain. I guess that's where not in the past books that we've read so far, I haven't been so Jedi of myself to be enthusiastic of the Jedis, more of like until now, right? And with Attain, there's so much lesson you can get from Attain just by reading this character that, man, if like I said, I was wondering, is Attain going to be even in my top 10? I think now today, Attain is definitely on my top 10 as one of the Jedis. And I wish they would have continued the story, but I understand why they chose, or why the author chose probably not to. If we do see her down the line, great. Like I said, I'd hate it to be like a HoloNet kind of thing where it's like, well, how are you doing on Quilura? No, I don't want to do it that way. I was like, just, yes, keep it as a goodbye. And, we're all too busy, and then everything happens what we already know happens. Let's keep that Attain moment pure, just in our reading knowledge, to just keep that character pure in the way, the way we think they're going to be, right? Or whatever you want to think about it to be. So I'll leave it at that. This book kind of like showed me in those last chapters is like, and even throughout the whole book as well, is that you don't leave a person behind. And so even though I answered a question a while ago, like, would I leave a person behind? It's like, no, you have to keep pushing through no matter what, so I guess what I took out of this whole book is that no matter how tired you are, no matter how far you feel like that you're gonna, expire, like, I mean, here's the thing that I got from it is like, they won as a team, and then all that stuff was in there, the teamwork and everything.
Yeah.
But it's everybody held their own weight.
Yeah.
Not everybody was like, yeah, they were good as a team, but individually, like, they could not have completed that whole mission without each one. I don't think Niner and Phi would have survived had Etain shown up with the lightsaber.
Yeah.
If Dar had to go by himself, like, man, he would have, like, those three would have probably bit the dust under Scarata's training, right? And at this point, and when I read at the part, like, it said Hoken was dangerous even when he was weak, I was like, man, that's exactly how you have to take life, is no matter how weak you feel, you got to be dangerously actively taking it harder than what it is. And I was like, man, that's what you forget, and that's what you got to keep remembering, is even though you're down to 0.5% or 0% on your energy level, you
Stims
gotta,
have
like,
worn off.
you gotta keep pushing. And that's what they kept doing. They kept pushing, right?
Yep.
Nobody really complained. Like, I don't think I mean, the way I read it, I don't think any of these clones ever complained one bit.
No.
Right? They had their differences, but there was no complaining. And I said, that's what you're doing, Ron. Like, you're going at life as like, like something owes you something to keep going. And I said, but you forgot with that push, like it's only your own, like you got to push your own weight to get through, to keep going. And I'm like, man, that's why. And from that point on, I was just like, yep, that's the lesson right there. Like, you do not, no matter what you do, like it's like I gotta be relentless on I'm attacking everything. So everything in life, like life will get hard. Like, don't get me wrong, the hardships are always gonna be there. Every day, like life happens, as you say.
Yeah.
But life happens only if you let it, defeat you that way. And I'm like, yo, whatever Darman, like, uh, it's like it's more of a Niner thing because Niner's like the leader, right? But with Darman, like it switched for me when the moment that I saw him like stand up to Earthan. Damn, I keep like
Earthen?
Earthan.
Uthan,
Uthan,
doctor?
yeah.
Uthan. So the moment that he like was just like, I don't care if there's scientists down there, like this is war, like we're gonna make this happen. This is our mission. We came here for, and I'm gonna attack life every day like that. Like Darman is just to like, I don't care what I came here for. I'm coming after for what I came here for, pretty much.
Mm.
So
Good,
I mean,
good
I'll leave it at
lessons.
that. I'll leave it at that. I mean, I really like this book, has a lot of good lessons, and it's not just
Yeah.
it's not just in the Jedi. I mean, it's in these clones too.
No, I like that you took that out of it. That's something it didn't even really hit me that way. But now that you describe it, I'm like, oh yeah, definitely a big theme in this. And you reminded me of another really interesting moment when they're watching the facility and Hokan is trying to escape with the rest of the scientists. And there's almost this really weird role reversal for just a minute where he's trying to keep them alive and he's being very polite to the female scientist and is trying to protect her and is trying to get out of there with him and his first lieutenant that is like the good guy and everything. And our guys, the clones, kill them, like shoot them down, like these innocent civilian doctors as they're trying to run away. And Hokan is the one who's upset about it. And I'm just like, that's war, baby. Like that is, for like a moment, you're almost like, I was rooting against my team. Like I wanted the bad guy to get away for a second with these people. Like, and I felt bad that Fi just shot down these these guys. Like, wow, like what a weird moment to just suddenly shift perspectives. And then you go back to how it should be, but like to accomplish that, it was such a feat of writing and of character. Fascinating. Like just to realize that in that moment, the way I was rooting for had reversed. I was like, whoa, what is going on here?
And I hate that this is an Emperor quote or a Palpatine quote. Do what must be done. Do what must be done. And like, man, it's from a bad guy, but it's like that's what you have to take in life. I like, man, these guys are my, like, I'm gonna say it with you guys. These guys are my team too. Like in this book, like I'm with you. I'm on that rain. Hit that choo choo and let's go. But damn, like really, like you cannot, like this is where you really have to attack life, these clones, because life is short for them. In reality, life is short for us. If we don't attack every minute, every hour, every moment, you're done. Like if you've just given up. And that's why if you want to take anything from these clones, just in this introductory book, as you say, take out that they never gave up. And what I mean by that is that they never said never, and they were never going to quit.
Yeah.
So whatever you take in life, whatever life gives you, whoever you may be, attack life the way you were going to attack it anyway.
Yeah, because
And don't
nothing's
just
guaranteed.
fold in. Don't
Yeah.
fold. Hold your line and don't fold. Don't move. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, we're going. We're taking this squadcast to the
Woo! This is a motivational squadcast now. But that reminds me also, there was that one little line from Darman that was almost optimistic, and he's like, I've probably got like 10 years left. Like, I read that optimistic in my mind, where he's just like, I've still got 10 years. And it's like sad at the same time, but oh my gosh, like, I don't know, just like the complication of them knowing their lifespan and yet still throwing themselves into these situations.
And that's what I mean. I mean, sorry to just go back to that. Like literally 10 years. Like I look back at the last 10 years of life. Like I was like, man, like that much happened, right?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen in the next 10 years?
Yeah, imagine if that's all you had.
And exactly, for them, that's all they did really have. Like if it wasn't death that was going to come after these clones, what's going to come after them is that they can't do what they were, what they were bred to do, which was, the war, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, every time I'm like, I'll go back to that one last time. I'm just gonna go back to that one last time.
Preach.
If you fold to the 10 years, or even like, the next day, like, or even in the next 3 months, don't fold on that. Like, because don't give up. Like, even though things don't seem like they want to not go your way, or if you think like, oh, life just hits me like where it just keeps going like this every day, like it's no, you know what? Well, I mean, don't fold. Hold your ground like you did, and stare that obstacle in life, and then get your your squad, your Omega squad, your sexy Wookiee squadron, your Rogue squadron, whatever squadron or whoever you roll with, and you attack life together. Because like you said, Jasmine, like there's people going in the same the same outcomes that you come through in life. It's just the obstacles are different. And hey, if they cannot look, I don't know if I read this in the book or I read this somewhere else. I think it's in the book, and I think this is what got me too. It was about numbers. Numbers in people are greater than any strength. I was like, man, bet that's the quote for me right there. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that's what they said. They said it's even though that you're like the enemy is strong, or it's the strength is more than you, your numbers are going to be able to overcome that strength. And I said, okay, that's what it is. If I have people that I know that are in the same boat, trying to get to where I'm going, then there's no matter how strong that obstacle is, we're going to get through it. Just like this squadcast.
That's it.
Jasmine,
get a good team.
Take it out. Go ahead, and Jasmine, man.
So
right there.
Overall, I love this book. I really do. And I just really want to binge read the next one.
I know.
Because it's just like good.
Do it.
So, I love the trope of found family. That is so cliche and cheesy. I know. I don't care. I love it.
It's a beautiful thing.
Just the way that they find themselves with each other and find family within each other. It just means so much to me. And I just love how it played out. I partially know what happens in the future books just because I've been on Tumblr for like half of my life.
And these books have been out for about half your life.
So
I won't read it until it's assigned.
I don't know how you can wait. I'm so impatient.
I'll try to keep this short, but yeah, overall, I really like the book. I wrote down in my notes for Hoken. So you guys know I like villains because they're
fun.
We don't need to go into why. There's so many different reasons, but
he was a good one. And his ending. Oof.
Yeah, I really liked how realistic he was. We talked about that in another episode. And I liked that he actually felt some kind of remorse that he's like, I have to kill this Mandalorian. He called Niner brother. And how he thought it would be a disgrace to kill him with the lightsaber. I was like,
he has like a sense of honor and
I love that
kinship with these people because they're Mandalorians. It was
at first
an amazing thing. Yeah.
Yeah, at first he was just like, oh God, what are these? And then he's like, brother. And I'm like, oh, I like that change. I like it. I just really like how they all developed, and I like getting to know their personalities more. Like Darmin, he's my sweet boy. I just want to bake him cookies, and I want to adopt him. I want to adopt the teen. I love Niner. I love Fi. Fi, I feel like I relate to the most, just
So
because
much.
you guys know me. I use humor to cope with my stress and my trauma.
Exactly. Like that line that said that when Niner's like, oh, that's how he does it. He just literally shuts down, like just turns everything off. I was like, is this going to resonate with Jasmine at all? I wonder.
Yeah.
Like between humor and then just like, nope, not today.
Yeah, no, that's me. And I was like, this man, he gets it. He gets like shout out to my therapist. She's amazing. I made some kind of like terrible joke because I was just not having it that day. I mean,
As you
and
do.
she started laughing. She's like, you're so funny. And I'm just like, thanks. It's the trauma. I wouldn't be funny without it. So that's how I'm like, fine.
Yes.
You just might be the love of my life because we're two the same coin. We're the exact same people.
His little snarky commentary. I love Fi so much.
You know what, you said earlier that like you were surprised that I didn't like it. I think it was like in the first or second episode you were like, oh, I thought you would like him more, and I was like, oh, let me get to know him.
He'll grow on you. Oh yeah.
And I was like, I need to wife him up. I'm gonna wife him up and I'm gonna adopt his brothers.
Oh my
gosh,
like
sweet boys. But yeah, no, I just love them.
Poor teen can't catch a break. This guy's
this poor sweetheart. Poor teen. I just want to wrap him up in like as a little sushi roll in a blanket and just pat his head.
And then he gets shot.
This poor bastard.
I love Valakil's comment. He's just like, oh, he's still collecting ugly scars, huh? Okay. Doing what he does.
Oh, I just really liked it. I thought it was good. I like how more we talked about this before, but like the more realistic aspects. And I like that it was a mix of like action and getting to understand each other. And I just like the mix of everything. And I thought it was really well done. I really liked it. As you can tell by my stickies.
Ooh, that's a sure sign.
My stickies. You're gonna screenshot this, aren't you?
That's gonna be one of the options. So many moments to revisit.
Oh yeah, I love it. So overall, I love this book. I really do. And it's kind of given me more motivation for my OC to help write her.
Yes, we're gonna get some Mina stories soon.
Yeah, because for those watching, I've been talking about Mina with Megan and Ronald for God knows how long, but I don't know. I kind of didn't have enough inspiration, but then this has like slowly been bringing more, and I was like, okay, I like this. I really like this.
Yeah, so anyone following the adventures of our OCs, you'll notice that it's very Megan centric, and that's because I happen to write a lot more than the others, and so we had all agreed we were going to write our own characters. So I went hog wild and just wrote a ton of Megan stories, and then Jasmine's supposed to write some Mina stories and was just waiting for the right mood, the right inspiration. And I'm very excited that we may have found something. And then Relics will figure him out in a minute, I'm sure.
We'll get him there.
We'll get him there.
A minute. It'll take hours.
However long it takes, we'll get him there.
But yeah, so now you got some clone / Mando / inspo. So yeah, that is good. Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts, or can I overwhelm you by announcing the next book?
Please overwhelm us, because I'm simping already.
I swear, like if Jasmine's heart hadn't already exploded from this book, guess what we're reading next, folks? Take it away. That's right. So we're going to be reading Thrawn, as in the new one, first of the series. Thrawn by Timothy Zahn. Amazing. So I'm actually excited. This will be our first Timothy Zahn book, and he is a Star Wars legend, and not just from Legends legend, he's a legend, like he's good. So it'll be exciting to read this, the new version of Thrawn, who Jasmine has not read the book of, and yet is already a huge simp of both him and Eli, I believe. So
We could blame Tumblr for that.
thank you, Tumblr,
for these two.
So imagine how bad this is going to be trying to read their actual story. What are we starting out with as far as chapter breakdown?
We are going to be starting out with chapters 1 through 5.
1 through 5, easy. Okay, yeah, no problemo. Okay, so that is what we're going to read next. So make sure you get your books. And if you haven't already, go get Republic Commando Hard Contact, start reading it, and then you won't be able to stop. So keep reading the rest of the series. Don't wait for us. Just go read it. It's amazing. And on to Thrawn next. Yes, we are jumping into a new era. It's going to be amazing. So I guess that is it for this book and this week. So I hope everybody has had a good time and has a good week coming up. But for now, I think Sexy Wookiees need to sign out. So goodbye. Sexy Wookiees.